Good morning, Knicks fans. Good morning, good morning, good morning, man. Good morning. So, look, this will not, whether win or lose tonight, this will not be the last version of the optimistic Knicks fan because, it's a do or die game. As I said before, a lot of people don't want to hear it. And again, it's the theme of this playoffs is everybody knows something. A team like Minnesota last night, and again, I think that team is a very flawed team. But they got eliminated. They're a talented but flawed team, and they got eliminated. And I know the prognostication is going to put everything on Julius Randle. Ant-Man, in my opinion, really disappointed in that series. I think he had one great game, one other good game, and three just what the hell. Last night, look, your team loses by 30. I don't care what you do personally. Your team gets blown out by 30 out the bat. I don't care what you do personally. That ain't it. But Minnesota got further than people expected. I mean, they pretty much got the same level they got last year. It's a season that at least lets them understand they're like a piece or two away, and that's what I pretty much thought. They're a piece or two away from making a serious finals run. And again, everybody else will get better. So Minnesota's just gonna have to keep their hand on the controls. But with the Knicks, we come back to Madison Square Garden tonight. A lot of people have gotten the Knicks wrote out of the series. Much like the Boston game, it probably is because the Knicks didn't play in all the way through dominant game, I expected that, right? But Indiana has come out. Indiana has come out and done what they're supposed to do. Look, game one, obviously choke job of all choke jobs. It was a close game up until the Knicks went on a run. Third quarter to the fourth quarter, obviously we know what happened the last 4 minutes of that game into the overtime. You know what I'm saying? So that way it was. Game two, it was a close game. Indiana had the lead for a lot of the second half. Came back one. Pretty much executed down stretch one. Game three, Knicks had to erase a 20-point deficit to win their only game they've won so far. And in game four, Indiana came out with a lead, got foul trouble. Look, the calls being the calls, the Knicks can't make the turnovers that they made, and that's the thing. And it's either there's fight in this squad, there's flex to Tibbs, or there's not. And really the series could be 2-2, but you're still not even if it was, you're still not feeling good about what the Knicks have done. You're not feeling good about the last game. Again, the fouls only took, I said I'm not going to harp on the fouls like everybody else do when it comes to the Knicks, because the fouls only tell me that it pretty much sapped the Knicks' chance to make a comeback. Where the Knicks, as I said, they have not been playing ahead all series. It seems like, it's just like the Boston series. Boston led in the games for most of the series. But again, you got to realize it's a race, 48 minutes. It's like horse racing. You can't, certain horses are better at coming from behind, and certain horses are better at running up front. Anybody know anything about horse racing? Anybody ever went to the racetrack, you would understand this. Anybody have a battle horse? Shout out to my late grandfather. He used to take us to the racetrack all the time. You understand what I'm saying? And I got an idea of horse racing. I bet a few times at Yonkers and all that, but that's the Knicks are a come from behind team. The Knicks are a team. Rarely. And again, you would want a good night like tonight. You would want Indiana, and again, that worries you in a 7-game series, because then you go back to Indiana and you're going to go back to Indiana by Saturday, and you're going to get a big maximized adjusted effort from Indiana, and that's going to be tough to beat. I'm already hearing that Carlton Towns is questionable. Just like we heard Neesmith was questionable, I'd be really shocked if Carlton Towns didn't play. Again, and if Carl Anthony Towns won his one season to be in New York, If he wants, if he just want one season in New York and, he wants to be the centerpiece of a Giannis trade next year, go ahead. Go out. You want to be in Milwaukee next year? Come out and not play. I mean, look, if you're dressed, I didn't even look at the injury. I haven't even looked at what the injury is. If you want to sign your ticket away out of New York and not be a part of a potential championship team, and you go to a rebuilding Milwaukee team where we exchange you and a few other things for Giannis, then go ahead. But otherwise, Carson should come out and play, and he should come out and play heroic. And that might be a linchpin for a comeback. Again, I'm likening this to 30 years ago when the Knicks were down 3-1 and made a monumental comeback. We made a monumental comeback to Game 7. And we were Patrick Ewing finger roll away from winning the series. And again, like a lot of people, it really kills me because, again, I gotta shout out the big fella, Patrick Ewing. Because this was one of those situations where the knock on Ewing is you always make guarantees. And I'm going to get into this in a later video. You always make guarantees and never come through on them. And he actually did in 94 when the Knicks went down 3-2 to the Pacers. He made a guarantee that we would get to the finals. We did. No, he didn't. That was Mark Messier doing the guarantee against the Devils. So it didn't happen at the same time. But again, they were down 3-2 and then came back and won the series of 7 over the Pacers. You play the Pacers again the next year. You're feeling like you're the better team, and you go down 3-1 on them because you blew Game 1. Similar fashion to how the Knicks blew Game 1. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I think you gotta, because, the choke was the same in 95, but the choke sign was thrown in 94. The Knicks won that series. Tyrese Halliburton pushed the choke sign up in Game 1, and the Knicks fell falling down 3-1. Obviously didn't come back, avenged Game 1, went down 0-2 at home, having to go in. Again, I said this, the Knicks has to take 2 in the field houses, obviously, right? So we took 1 in the field house. I spoke on live. I actually spoke on 10 Toes Down about what I said. I spoke in other places, so I got to speak again on this channel in a video that the Nova boys really. That's what really kind of got my confidence wavered. Is the Nova boys? They just came up bad. 11 of their 17 turnovers, and again. The Nova boys should understand this more than anything. Don't turn the ball over. And they made indecisive jump ball turnovers. Brunson has to, again, I want to know that this kid is killing himself. I know he is a machine in his operation. But that play where he dribbles over to the left corner with Neesmith on him, looking for it out, and Tyrese Halliburton this is the thing. And if the Knicks don't get this better, again, I can't put that on Tips. But again, I got to put it on Tips. Because this is going on under your watch. These are bad offensive sets in the first place. The Knicks are way too talented. And I've said this theme the whole playoffs. This is the most talented starting 5 that we've ever had. And the bench is actually better than people give it credit for. I think the fact that Tip over-relies on the starting 5, does not segment off the minutes properly, wants everybody, especially in the playoffs, playing 40-something minutes. At this point, we can play 35 minutes and I've said this all year. Now people are coming to this revelation that other lineups, that other combinations of lineups might work well for a team, especially against a team like Indiana, who switches up. See, I hear stupid Celtics fans telling me, we only built this team to beat the Celtics. Well, if we only beat this team to beat the Celtics, number one, if that was true, if we only beat this team to beat the Celtics, then we built the team to beat the league. The Celtics were presumably the best team. They were everybody's pick. Yes, the Celtics play a certain style of basketball that is very hard to keep up with in a 7-game series. Remember, everybody said they cannot be beaten in a 7-game series. Them and an OKC, right? So everybody was Boston OKC finals. Knicks struck a blow for basketball by beating the Celtics because that 3-point game they put, it was almost not fair for the regular season because but then, it got walked down in the playoffs. And so, of course, Knick haters, and we've celebrated like, Jesus Christ, I'm not going to explain it again. That when you have a watch party and you have a pretty much a couple of hundred, maybe 300,000 people in a small, over a block radius, that's what it's going to look like. Yes, Knick fans celebrate because I want people to understand this, man. It's not about the destiny. You guys are champion. You guys are Boston fans. You guys are Lakers fans because they have the championships. And most casual NBA fans don't even go back and say, let me learn something about this team. Let me watch a documentary. Let me just celebrate everything that I love about my Lakers, about my, what's the name? So you got all the championships, the Bulls, whatever. Even the Spurs, like Spurs championships are moderately recent. And people don't go back and say, let me celebrate. Let me go back and look at the history. Let me go back and look at the stories. Let me go back and look at those battles with the Lakers. That's why most of them couldn't tell you shit about them. I could, and I barely, I didn't like either team. But then that's the thing, okay? So Knicks fans, we're not Knicks fans because we got a bunch of championships. We're not. We're Knicks fans because they ruled our home. The two teams. When we do win championships, it's never about one star. It's never about one person. Like if we would have won this, if we come back, if we would have won or come back and win this year, because I'm not going to rule it out. That's the theme. I'm not ruling it out. It would be because this is a team effort. And again, I think Jalen Brunson needs to understand that, and I think whoever the next head coach is, because whether we win or not, we're not gonna win without sharing the ball better. And again, it's gotten to the point where that's where it's a fireable offense. Even if the Knicks won and got to the finals next year, I mean, we could conceivably, and everybody would kill us, and I'd be right there. Let's just say we won. We came back, we beat Indiana, and then we beat OKC. We won 7 more games. And I would still, me personally, knowing that I want more success, I would still fire Tibbs. Because again, while he has gotten us to this point, he is not conducive to us winning going further. He might be conducive to us still being a good team, to very good team, but he would not be conducive to having championship expectations. And I'm going to say this again. Because of the way, if we're going to be a mediocre defensive team, like if we were a top-of-the-line defensive team, we would probably be up in the series. Because we would take away what Indiana does best. Instead, no. We run bad offense leading to their offensive explosions. We play good defense on them in the base half courts. We see this. When you can, that's the whole key to us, our success against Indiana, because we've had success against this team. We should have won last year despite the injuries. We really had game 3 in the bag, and it took a bunch of questionable calls. Again, same thing this year. And a miracle shot by Nembhard for us not to go up 3-0 in that series. So then we probably take it in 5 or 6. We probably win in game 5 when we came back home. They would have took the one down at the field house. Game 4, and we would have finished in Game 5. There would have been no Game 7. It would have been no Game 7 when the Knicks are finally, like, we needed OG Anunoby. Again, OG Anunoby has been defensively okay. I mean, really, is nobody for him to take out. He's not on Halliburton. Would I make an adjustment and put him on Halliburton? No. Yeah, he did get worn out by Siakam. So, yeah, Siakam is pretty much... And again, the Knicks going to have to make some struggle. We got to get him back to the 3. We got to get Josh Hart back off the bench and going forward, right? Because, again, that strengthens the bench unit. This is not a knock on Josh Hart. Josh Hart did a great job this year. But we got to take it up a level. We are better. Again, we are a better team talent-wise. They are a better team operationally. They are a better team the way they run defense. I mean, the way they run their offense is way better. The way they operate is better. They get the most out of their talent. We don't. Nembhard, Shepherd, these guys all making great contributions while we're relying on guys who are just as good. Just as good. You telling me Shepherd is that much better than Landry Shamet? Landry Shamet has been on good teams. He's bounced around the league on good teams. The Knicks need a roster upgrade. We might need a superstar upgrade. We might. Because, again, a lot of things about Brunson is being exposed. I never said this guy was the best player in the league. So he's one of the best. Just like anybody, like if Ant-Man could be considered for the face of the league, don't tell me that Brunson, because Brunson has been better in this playoffs consistently than Ant-Man. But Ant-Man has a high-flying style. He chose not to use it against a team he should have used it against. Because I don't understand who's the physical beast. Lou Dort? Who's the physical beast to stop Ant-Man from dominating the way Ant-Man could? And he didn't. They played 2 stifling games on SGA and didn't take advantage of them. They took advantage of the one, I believe. Game one, they stifled them. Game 1, they stifled them. But anyway, my optimism again. Look, I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait for celebration. I would sign for a comeback on Indiana and a loss in 5 or 6 against OKC because I do know OKC has a lot going for them, and the Knicks probably will be worn out if we did make a comeback. And OKC will be sitting there rest. Maybe we get strong. I don't know. If I had to sign a deal, not with the devil, but just sign a deal, I'd take a comeback because it would really be a successful season. And I'd still fire Tibbs. Because if I'm Leon Rose, if I'm Knicks management, if I'm James Dolan, and James Dolan might not understand it, somebody might have to really get in his ear to explain it to him. This team needs a spark to take it to that we can expect to win championships level. They can. I've said it all year. They have the talent to win the championship. I think that's been proven. Because again, if the game was called correct, if game 1 was called correctly, despite our mistakes, we win that game. This would be a 2-2 series. Okay? This is what Indiana playing their best shot. Indiana played unbelievably well. Better than I could have expected against us. But again, they've exploited our weaknesses. And that for Tibbs is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Especially to a team that we've lost. We played in my basketball fandom, played 9 times in the playoffs. To have 2 teams play each other 9 times in 31 years, we played 9 times. A lot, considering the Knicks spent about 20 years outside of the playoffs. I don't think the Lakers is. I would say the Lakers and Spurs have played each other 8 times. Think about that. And these are teams that are franchises that are constantly in the playoffs. The Knicks were a playoff, out of the playoffs. Pacers were bad for a little bit. They were good they kept that team together a couple, 2-3 years after Ewing got traded. Knicks fell off. right? Then they came back with the Paul George era. You know what I'm saying? They were in the playoffs in the bubble year and all that stuff, right? When LeBron was, I remember they had the young team that LeBron played in the first round, 4-5 matchup. So the Pacers have been around. Pacers have drafted well. Again, Knicks haven't. I'm gonna start getting into some shows and videos about the actual history of the Knicks, man, because I gotta give my team its due. I did a good video again. If you anybody that follows this should watch it if you're interested. And just because at the end of the day, whether the subject matter itself is boring, you get a Knicks fan, a passionate Knicks fan as myself, really breaking it down, and that's the thing, man. History, when fans use history and don't know history, it's useless conversation. But when fans use history and know history, and then give the idea of, okay, this is where you need to know your history, so you don't repeat the mistakes and errors. That's where the Knicks need to be on. All right, because again, this is like the Mike D'Antoni era, where Thibodeau, and I think is a way better coach than Mike D'Antoni, but where Thibodeau is so exposed by his stubbornness, and again, he's a way better coach than D'Antoni. But the problem is his stubbornness. It's his lack of ability to adjust on the fly. It's his fatal flaw here. Because you have again, despite what the media says, remember, we were not in Boston's class, and then we beat Boston in 6. And then the whole thing about Jason Tatum being injured kind of then put a little but asterisk on it, which is freaking bullshit. Okay? Which is bullshit, because the Knicks were up 3-1 and the man hurt himself on a mistake he made. I'm sorry, I don't want to I don't want to sit there and gloat, because I'm not doing that. But a mistake he made, and he had a non-contact injury. Kristaps Porzingis, we drafted the motherfucker. He's always hurt. Hit a viral infection. Been fighting that since last year. You got, you're a world-class basketball player. Either y'all find out what's wrong or that's it. So you can't, that's part of like Mitchell Robinson not being healthy. I think the Knicks would have been an elite team. I think the Knicks would have been a 60-win team with a Mitchell Robinson in the starting lineup and a Josh Hart off the bench. We would have had that already. We wouldn't be experimenting at this point of the season. 2 games into the instant conference finals, had he not been. And that happened to him. That wasn't, again, injuries and the viral infection. I hope it's not even something that's long-term health threatening or anything like that. But the whole idea that Porzingis is always hurt. The same way Mitchell Robinson is always hurt. But again, the last time that this happened to him, it was done to him. Wasn't him jumping and landing wrong. No. Someone grabbed his ankle. It was already damn near shredded as he was going up for a dunk. So you got one person pulling your limb down while the rest of your body is going up. Yeah, you're gonna get a fracture that way. Okay. So I'm getting passionate, man. But this is the optimistic Knicks fan. I'm optimistic, man. We've been here before. I think the team that we have in 2025 is more complete than the team we had in 95. I think that Indiana team that are better defensively overall, and this team is better offensively. That's the thing. We're gonna have to put in a defensive effort that we're known for, and that means again Tibbs on the fly. When I turned on the game 5 minutes into the game. And by then, because I was a little confused on when it started. I thought it might have started at 8:15, 8:30, and it started at 8 on the dot. Which I'm surprised, being Indiana's in the Central Time Zone. But whatever the case, Karl-Anthony Towns picking up 2 fast. Like these are these habits, these bad habits that this team has. They have too many bad habits to have a coach who preaches fundamental accountability and all this stuff We have too many bad habits. And again, Carly Towns played terrific this year. He needs to play. He needs to come up and play big. I mean, if he's hurt, if he's really, really hurt, then that's one thing. But he's played a great season. I can say that had a great season. I think if we go forward with Towns, we need a coach that maximizes it. And again, I know Towns himself plays better. I need a Thibodeau 2.0. Because Towns had his two best seasons in his career. You can look at it. The one season in Minnesota and this season playing under Tom Thibodeau. So I think the next coach, I need the Thibodeau personality. Probably Mike Malone with a little bit of the new school. A guy that understands the new school a way of coaching that where you do mix lineups and you do play the matchups and stuff like that. You don't just play to what you deem as a rotation. And then I need a guy that understands modern offense, where again you should be running a lot of pick and pops. For the first time we have one of the best shooting big men. You can say Dirk was better because you know why Dirk was better, because he shot in the mid range. Dirk shot in the mid range. Carly Towns doesn't have mid range. It's either his whole thing is shooting outside or getting to the basket. Carly Towns doesn't shoot in the mid range at all, and that's cool. Maybe that would take a coach and all that to develop him a whole mid range game, and that would actually make him a better player. But it's too late at this point. He is who he is. But we need a coach that optimizes. We cannot be running this Brunson centric offense. I get it. I get at the end of games, it's really good because you have him. At the end of games, you can do the Brunson stuff. But we shouldn't be doing it in the first, second, third quarter. We shouldn't. Not to the extent. And Brunson himself has to soul search and become a better point guard. He should have more 8, 9, 10 assist games next year. He should have more 8, 9, or 10 assist games starting now. Again, I mean, God, bro. When I looked at the assists, so many reasons of ourselves. The calls were atrocious, and the calls been atrocious all goddamn playoff. So as soon as the Knicks get one controversial call, the rest want the Knicks to win. Why the fuck we down 3-1? Anyway, bottom line, Knicks got a chance, got a shot to win. I'm gonna predict a win tonight. I'm not gonna say what's gonna go on Game 6 because I would probably predict a Game 6. But if the Knicks win Game 7, we all know anything can happen. So it is gonna be tough. It's an uphill battle. It's really an uphill battle. I expected a downhill battle. I expected not an easy trip to the finals, but I expected to just walk them down and stomp a mud hole in them. And again, the Knicks did not come out with that intensity. We didn't, Game 4, we felt like we were satisfied. We didn't take any of that momentum. And that, again, that's the next thing. That's the next thing on coaching, man. You got to get the team out ready. That team came, Indiana came and played like the desperate team, and we didn't. And that's the problem. We didn't match that intensity. Even with that, knowing it was still a game that could have been won, and we didn't, though. It is what it is. So I'm going to sign off here. I'm going to end it here. I do expect the Knicks to win just for pride purposes, but Indiana could easily come out and just take care of business and end the series. But I expect the Knicks to win for pride purposes for sure. And then again, you get the twos ready, And again, do these guys trust each other? Do these guys believe in each other? And if not, we're gonna see. We're gonna do some soul searching, and that's on Leon Rose too. But the first thing is you're gonna have to get rid of Thibodeau if the Knicks want to really get to the point where we can expect the championship, expect to be one of the top 2 teams, 3, 4 teams again there next year. All right, guys. Peace.